Exceptions are thrown when rules are broken. For example, the rules that you cannot divide by 0. For example, 5 divide by 0. If we run our program, we can see that the program throws exception. Exception in thread, this is main thread, java.lang arithmetic exception, divide by 0. This is an exception. Or another popular exception when we have an array of some objects, for example, int object array with 1 and 2 objects. So if we try to add a new object from for this array to this array with 2 objects, you can see that this int array, well, this is not an object array, this is just array. So 0 index is 1, 1 index is 2, and we try to set index by index 2, some number, 3 for example. And if we run our program, we can see the next exception, array index out of bounds exception. Index 2 out of bounds of length 2. Length 2. This array has length of 2 elements, but we try to refer on a third element. Index out of bounds exception. So when an exception is thrown, the program crashes by this exception. Therefore, you need to catch exceptions. And the catching syntax is the same as a Kotlin. We just write try and put inside this try block all instructions that can throw an exception. And catch exception. We will catch all exception, throwable, and do something with this exception. And if we run our program, we see that the program caught all exceptions and did not crash. With exit code 0, it means that the program success completed. From this block, arithmetic exception and array index out of bound exception, we'll catch it here. Print these exceptions. Dot localize it message. We usually use it only message. Okay. Message. And if we run our program, divide by 0. This is the message of this exception. Throwable is a cosmic class of all exceptions, but usually just use exception class. Exception class from package java.lang. This exception class is a subclass of throwable class. And see the same result. Also, we can stop the program ourselves. For example, let's say we have a string, some file, and with some name. No. And if the name of this file dot equals unknown, Then we needed to throw an exception. We just write throw and some exception. We can create exception or runtime exception or illegal argument exception. I usually use the runtime exception. Runtime exception. Here we can add some message of our exception with keyword new, an instance of this exception. And if we run our program, we can see this runtime exception, message of our exception. To avoid this, we can use try catch, that you know, here, and we will catch runtime exception. Runtime exception. Yeah, we can write system out print line, or we can just invoke a print stop trace method. And if we run our program, we can see this runtime message of our exception. But if we want to avoid exception and want to complete our work, we just write e.getMessage. And our program must work without crash. Yes, message of our exception and divide by 0. Divide by 0 from here, and message of our exception from here. Here we can throw a runtime exception, illegal argument exception, and this is unchecked exceptions. Also, there are EO exception. This is, for example, EO exception. This is checked exceptions. If we work with files. Okay, good job, and see you in the next lesson.